Let's dive in to Mark 4, verse 35, when it says, "And the same day when the even was come, he saith unto them, Let us pass over unto the other side." So let's draw an overhead view of the Sea of Galilee. So here's the Jordan River that exits from the south, and here's Capernaum up in the north. And you have from about here down to about here, you have Jewish villages. Over on this side, and you have Tiberias here. Over on this side, this is part of the Decapolis. So that means 10 cities, and they're Greco-Roman cities. So this is where Gentiles live. It's the other side of the Sea of Galilee, and if you're a good, kosher, practicing Jew in the first century, you should not go out of your way to go to Gentile lands and to be in a place where you're going to be forced to interact with Gentiles. So when it ends verse 35 by saying, "Let us pass over unto the other side," it's this invitation to the disciples to come with him to say, we're going to go to the other side. And what they don't know is that Jesus is going over to perform a miracle and to plant a seed among those Gentiles over in Decapolis on the other side, the eastern side of the Sea of Galilee.
So the Sea of Galilee is about 650 feet below sea level. It's fresh water, and it's surrounded by these high mountains. We talked in an earlier episode, Jesus said, a city set on a hill cannot be hid. So if you go to the Galilee today, and if you are anywhere in the Galilee at any point at the nighttime, you can see all these cities ringing the hill, all these villages and towns. But the wind would pick up and come down, and you wouldn't know where it's coming from. The boats are quite small. Ones that we've actually found in the mud in the Sea of Galilee measure about 27 feet long, 7.5 feet wide, and about 4.3 feet deep. Not super large. If you take a typical American pickup truck, maybe 50% bigger than that. But imagine being out there and these winds pick up, and I don't know, were most of these people swimmers?
It's a good question. Keep in mind, Peter, James, John, and Andrew were professional fishermen. This is their home turf, so to speak. It's not turf, it's water. And they spend their life on that water. And with those nets, they would have spent a lot of time swimming. They're not foreigners to storms on this sea, and they're not foreigners to being able to survive in the water. But they're going to be tested on this night. And isn't it fascinating that the testing comes because we're headed in a new direction. We're taking the gospel somewhere where it's never been before. We're doing something that hasn't been done before. I wonder if that's applicable to your life. Whenever you endeavor to go and engage in something new, whether it's go on a mission, go to college, get married, have a child, go into a new career, you cross over to that other side, and as you go, opposition often mounts up to thwart you and to make you give up and to not move forward. I love the fact that you're going to watch how Jesus responds to this opposition as opposed to how his disciples respond to this opposition. Verse 36 says, "And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship, and they were also with him, and there were also with him other little ships." So it's not just one. There's a little fleet of little ships. And as Taylor mentioned sizes, we can see, as this picture shows, of one boat that they've found that dates back to the first century. You can picture this is not a mighty sailing vessel. You would feel very vulnerable in a major violent storm down in the Sea of Galilee if you were inside of one of these boats. And it says, there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship so that it was now full. So it's not just a little afternoon windstorm. This is in the middle of the night, and the wind is so violent that the boat is now full with water. The waves have come in, and you can picture this thing just kind of limping along. So let's stop and think about this for a minute. What is physically happening? It's dark. I might be disoriented. I don't even know which direction to try to paddle. I'm probably not worrying about paddling. I'm probably worrying about bailing at this point, and it's not doing any good, because the more I bail, the winds and the waves keep replacing the water inside the boat, and I'm feeling completely overwhelmed, disoriented, scared to death. I don't know if I'm going to survive this night. And so you can see that the storm from the Sea of Galilee has now become a storm inside of me as one of the disciples on that ship. I'm scared. So what is Jesus' response in all of this? Look at verse 38. And he was in the hinder part of the ship asleep on a pillow. So the apostles or the disciples are experiencing two storms that night. The external storm of winds and waves on the Sea of Galilee in the darkness, as well as the storms of anxiety and fear and trembling inside of their soul. And Jesus is only very minorly experiencing the effects of the physical storm. He's asleep in the hinder part of the ship on a pillow. He's not stormy inside. He's only experiencing very, very minorly the effects of the physical storm. And they wake him up, and it says, they say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? So in our modern language of English today, we might translate that to say, Jesus, do you not even care that we're all going to drown tonight? You're sleeping? You're going to sleep through our death, basically is what they're asking him. And I love the fact that Jesus, when he rises up, it says, verse 39, and he arose and he rebuked the wind, and he said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Oh, those are some of my favorite words in all of the Gospels. And there was a great calm that comes after the creator of heavens and earth stretches out his hand and says, Peace, be still. Brothers and sisters, I propose to you that Jesus performed two miracles that night, one of them physical and one of them spiritual. He didn't just calm the wind and the waves on the Sea of Galilee. He also calmed the storm and the winds and the waves inside of the souls of those disciples, to the point where their faith could increase and they could look at him with new eyes. They could see something that they hadn't seen before. Look what verse 41 says. They feared exceedingly and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? Their trust in him is going to increase because they've experienced him not just calming the physical storm and saving them from imminent death, but also calming the storm within them as they go places they've never gone before, doing things they don't feel comfortable doing, and he helps them weather that storm rather than turning back. Oh, and can I just mention that if you're in a covenant relationship with Christ, a nice symbol for that would be this idea that President M. Russell Ballard has shared of being in the good ship Zion. I would propose to you that one of the ways that could be applied is to enter into the relationship with Christ, the covenant relationship with Christ, get on the boat, the good ship Zion, with Christ. And as long as you stay in the boat with him, that boat will not sink. But But that doesn't mean that because you're in a covenant relationship with Christ, just because he's in the boat with you, doesn't mean that there won't be times in your life when it gets really dark, when it gets really disorienting, when you're really confused, when you're really scared, when you feel like you're going to die in one form or another. That was never promised, that you would be saved from those kinds of things. But if you stick with him, if you stay with him, especially when it's the hardest, he will find ways to appropriately calm those storms in your life when the purposes have been fulfilled and end up delivering you and taking you places you never thought possible, as long as you stay with him.